read the second bullet point, please? Wait, go ahead.
Disinformation, information that is false and deliberately created to harm a person, social group, organization, and or a country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Right. So we have this disinformation, and this one is different because it is created with the intention to harm a person, social group, organization, or country. Right. And like I said to you before, a lot of the false things that were happening in Charlottesville, right, they're being given to the white supremacists as a way to harm the country, as a way to divide it, right? So this is an example of disinformation. Okay, so can I have someone read the last one, please?
Me, teacher.
Great, go ahead.
Malinformation, information that is based on reality, used to inflict harm on a person, organization, or country.
Absolutely right. So they're using real statistics, right? But they're using it to hurt another country, organization, or a person again. So I want to give you guys an example of Russia and Ukraine. Ukraine might say, this is how many people have died in Russia. With, let's say, 30,000 Russian soldiers have died trying to get into Ukraine. Russia is saying, 30,000 soldiers did die, but it's been over the course of so many years. It's not just right now, right? And they start saying, well, you know how many of their people died? And they give you like another statistic that's even more, right? So they're using this to attack another nation, right? They're twisting the information, the information based on reality to inflict harm on the other country, right? They might say, 30,000 of our troops have died, but this is because X amount of your guys' troops were there when we were attacking, right? So they place the blame on the Ukrainians, right? So that could be an example. So here is a funny, supposed to be funny news article. So let's read it. Patient zero, friend says she had a weirdly sore throat for a few weeks in 2013. Katina Harrington of Columbus, Ohio, have actually been the first case of COVID-19 in the country. Right? So where do you think this lies? Is it misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, or none of the above?
Disinformation, no, because they comment only one, no, and the percent is more.
So I want us to look at this through like a satire view, right? So this is a news article that was published with the intention to make people laugh, right? It's not real. It's not real. So just imagine, it's like if I told you, Aries, I remember in 2013 when I saw you, you had like a cold. I swear that was the first case of COVID that ever happened. It's your fault COVID happened across the world, right? How do people react to that? It's like absurd, right? To think that one person who hasn't had a sore throat, right? Like after 2013. So this is how I want us to look at it. So in reality, it's none of the above, right? Because this is not used with the intention to hurt anyone. And yeah, it's false, but we know that it's false, right? Because the people who made this did it with intention to be false. However, if a news source were to take this and say that it's real on accident and start publishing it, then it becomes misinformation. So we got it? We got the differences? Any questions? I'm not sure. I think so. Maybe you can type it in on Google and find it. It's like such a long time since I made these presentations, but yeah, I think it was Onion. I think it was the Onion. So just looking at it, like I said before, it's crazy, right? To even think that one person could cause COVID, right? The whole thing of COVID around like the United States, right? And this happened in 2013, right? So she's probably fine, everything is fine, but people are saying in this case that she was the reason why COVID is spreading so fast in the United States because she was the first carrier. She's probably never been to China, never been anywhere, right? Living in the little town of Harrington, Columbus, Ohio, right? Like, where even is that? Right. So yeah, it's supposed to be funny, right? So you have to read it by being very critical, right? Like why, right? Why? And then you'll find out by asking so many questions that it's all BS. Like it's all made for funny instances. So let's move on. Great question, Oscar. So what is propaganda, guys? I know the same word exists in Spanish, right? So this should not be hard for you. What is propaganda? What does propaganda mean?
Advertising.
Sorry?
Advertising.
Advertising. But there's something more to just advertising. What are they making us do? Oscar, you know this by you know this answer from the back of your hand. What? Yeah, you're absolutely right. So let's view this as, during World War II, Hitler times, right? Propaganda. What were they doing? They were manipulating people's minds. They were convincing you without you knowing of their certain cause, right? So Hitler made a ministry of propaganda, right? In this, they created so many songs, record labels, posters, movies, right, dedicated to this Nazi cause that the white race was the most superior race and anything else should die, right? So they start creating all this for the main purpose of changing the perspectives, the minds of the German people, right? That's why even during the World War II or before World War II, during the Olympics, it was so important for the Nazi flag to be flown. So if you saw the Nazi Olympics, those were like very striking images, right? And it was the first time where the Olympics was actually recorded with more than like 3 cameras. They used like about 40 cameras. And before the Olympics, when people run with the torch, that was first introduced by Hitler. Hitler made that because he believed that was the Aryan race tradition, right? So he introduced that, and ever since then, the Olympics have been doing that. So if you didn't know that, it's good, a good little fact there. So propaganda can go a long way, and people have said that Olympic Games was one of the most spectacular and the most well thought out Olympics that has ever existed, because they put so much emphasis into making it look good for the world, right? So people might have thought that before this whole Nazi thing happened, where they started killing all the Jews, that maybe they might have been a good country to live in. But obviously, it's not how it goes. It's not how it goes. So what is propaganda, guys? Can I have someone read the first and second bullet point, please?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Ruby.
Propaganda is the systematic effort to manipulate other people's beliefs. The other ones?
Yep, there's the second one too.
Pictures, drawings, graphs, exhibits, parades, songs, and other devices devices, often used for controversial matters, but can also promote things that are generally acceptable and no controversial. Different kinds, selfish, deceitful, white propaganda, black propaganda.
Absolutely. So right, this could be propaganda could come across any type of way, right? So we have pictures, drawings, graphs, exhibits, parades, songs, and other devices, right? When was the last time we listened to a song that talked about like an issue, right? If you guys are big fans of Calle 13, right? Or they're called something different now, right? I forget. Does anybody know what the artist is called now? I think he's called what is he called now? He has a different name.
Presidente.
Yeah. But he talks about a lot of the issues of Latin America now, right? He talked about the one of his songs, I think, was named Latin America, and he talked about the struggle for the indigenous groups that live in some countries, right? So that's a good way of sharing your view, and in some cases, this could be used as propaganda for the indigenous people, right? There's like, look, we have people who support us, right? Share this with other people. So absolutely. So there's two different types of propaganda. So there's white propaganda and black propaganda. White propaganda is propaganda that does not hide its origin, meaning it does not hide where it's coming from, right? So that song that I listened to by Residente, right? I know that's from him. I know it's him, right? If not, like I probably wouldn't have discovered it, but I know it's him. So in that case, it wouldn't be black propaganda, because black propaganda is propaganda that disguises its origin, right? And what does disguise mean, guys? What does disguise mean? Absolutely. It's like wearing a costume, right? So if I want to be Chucky for Halloween, right? And I put on this Chucky mask and I have my knife, right? Does that mean I'm actually Chucky, right? I'm not Chucky behind the mask, right? But I'm Chucky for right now because it's Halloween, right? So disfraz, right? Same thing, right? They're wearing something to portray a different thing, right? So if I produce something against, I don't know, like let's say I'm pro Peña Nieto, pro PRI, and I hate AMLO with all of my heart, right? So I'm going to put things out saying, this is why I hate AMLO so much. This is all the stuff he's done bad. And then I put made by a random person. But let's say I work for this huge industry that is being funded by the Peña Nieto organization, right? I'm being fake there because I have the funding. It's not just one random guy making this, right? It's a whole company. So that's how we could disguise.
Matt,
So let's get. Yes, go ahead.
I have to say something. You
Right,
have
go
a
ahead.
good pronunciation in your Spanish. I think we need a class in Spanish. Yes.
In Spanish, I don't know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
You can
For the
try.
You speak better like us.
Yes.
I'm willing to do that. It would be a special extra class after, if you guys want. But we can discuss whatever is going on. But for right now, sadly, I have to keep things in English. But maybe there might be another course where we can do Spanish.
Yes,
So,
don't worry.
yeah. Great question, Ruby. So I want to present you guys some examples of propaganda. We have two examples that I really want to give to you guys. There's a Trump propaganda and there's a Biden propaganda. And they both want two different things. And we're going to see what that is. So let's see the Trump propaganda ad.
Seattle's pledge to defund Seattle's pledge to defund its police department by 50%, even including a proposal to remove 911 dispatchers from police control.
Joe Biden said he's absolutely on board with defunding the police. Listen closely.
Yes, absolutely.
Hello, you've reached 911. I'm sorry that there is no one here to answer your emergency call, but leave a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Crime will rise significantly.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
All right, now let's watch the Biden one.
Donald Trump, too scared to face the people, too weak to lead. The nation marches for justice. And like a deer in the headlights, he's paralyzed with fear. He doesn't know what to do, so he hides in his bunker. Then he's afraid he looks too weak, so he has tear gas and flash grenades used on peaceful protesters, just for a photo op. The cries for justice grow. Where is Donald Trump? Too scared to face the people, too small to meet the moment, too weak to lead.
Okay, so what's going on here, guys? What is the difference between the both videos? First off, what do we see? Anyone? Don't be shy.
Well, I don't see a difference because, well, they have different ideas, so they are just attack to each other, and I think it's the first video was deep for me, but, well, I think that it's my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. But so Ruby, thank you for sharing. And this goes out to the class. Like, what was the major, I guess, policy difference, or like what was the major issue that they both talked about here? They both had one issue that they talked about. What was it?
Fear on people.
Fear on people, yes. But what else? What else? What was bringing this fear of the people?
With the consequence if one is the president?
Very much, right? If one is a president, right? But in this case, they were talking about police, right? Police reform, everything that has to do with police. One side was saying, Trump was saying, listen, if you vote Joe Biden, they're going to defund the police. There's not going to be any police anymore. And just like that old lady, right? You call the police and they're not going to pick up. Like, too bad, lady, And the guy goes into to her house, right? Crazy advertisement, right? The other one is saying, well, actually, let me ask you guys, what was the other one saying? What was Biden saying in regards to the police? So we saw protesters. Now, what did those protesters want? What is Black Lives Matter? That's what I'm asking you guys. What is the protests behind what's happening?
Well, I think they try to say that the lives of Black people, it's important too. And well, we see the news recently in these years, and well, I don't know if I right, but I think the difference is like in the first video, Donald Trump says that Joe Biden doesn't want so many police, but Donald Trump wants more policemen, but these policemen, provoke these situations of murders. And well, I think it's a contrast. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah, no, you can absolutely say it. Nobody's gonna, it's a good place to share your ideas. So yeah, it's a contrast. That's a good word to use, right? So one side basically argues, you vote for Joe Biden, police probably aren't going to be the same, right? Joe Biden is saying, yes, it won't be the same because, right, in this video, right, he has clear support of the protesters. And a lot of these protesters had some troubles with the police, obviously, because the Black Lives Matter movement, right? So there was one in support to fund more of the police, and the other one to maybe defund it or maybe change it from the thing that we know now, right? So, this is what some of the thoughts behind the issues, right? The Trump ad, there was an old lady, right? Who do you think this ad was meant to convince or scare the most? Absolutely, right? If you're an old person, right, and you've never seen any of this go on in your lifetime, now you're seeing videos of a guy going into a house and the lady's calling on the phone and nobody's picking up, right? How would you feel as an old lady or old man just like by yourself at your house? Probably wouldn't feel that great, right? You probably would vote for Trump in this instance, right? Compared to the one for Biden, what audience was he targeting with his advertisements, guys? What type of people did he have in his advertisement?
Black people,
Black.
and even the Latinos,
Absolutely, right? It's diverse, a bunch of different races, right? But, we see it again, and a lot of it is young people, right? This is meant to get the vote of the young people, the people who are participating in these protests, right? That's the vote that they want. In the end, right, the propaganda behind this, right? What is it in the heart of it, right? They're convincing people to vote for them. So let's watch another video. This video is a person running for the US Senate. And this was in direct response to a guy who said that he wanted to take away all guns, that he was anti-American because he wanted to basically place some restrictions on who could buy guns, right? So this was his response, the person who was being attacked.
I'm Jason Kander, and Senator Blunt has been attacking me on guns. Well, in the Army, I learned how to use and respect my rifle. In Afghanistan, I'd volunteer to be an extra gun in a convoy of unarmored SUVs. And in the state legislature, I supported Second Amendment rights. I also believe in background checks so that terrorists can't get their hands on one of these. I approve this message because I'd like to see Senator Blunt do this.
So that was a very interesting video, right? And a lot of people were saying like, wow, like that was really convincing, right? Somebody who's attacking him on placing gun restrictions, right? Knows everything about a gun. He served in the military, right? Compared to the other person who never served in the military and probably doesn't even know, right, how to shoot a gun, right? So that's, two different sides of the coin there, right? And let's watch this one.
Aceptas a estas montañas y a estos mares. necesitas a esta gente para protegerla con lealtad y cuidarla todos los días de tu vida.
¡Acepto!
Los desafíos de México son de todos y unidos los enfrentamos. Fuerza Aérea Mexicana, 100 años de lealtad. Unidos somos la gran fuerza de México. Gobierno de la República.
So what was this? What was the message behind this? What was the reason for this advertisement? What were they trying to accomplish or do? Absolutely, absolutely. But you as a viewer, oh yes, Ruby.
Sorry. Well, I think the message, it will be that you feel safe and that you trust in the Mexican army. As we said, with the corruption in the police, even in the army. So I think it's that message.
Okay. Anyone else? So you as a viewer, right? What do you think this video was making you do? Like making you want to do?
Join to the army?
Yeah, so that was the main reason behind this, right? They wanted to show you what they're about. They want to convince you that you should be part of the army, right? They give you questions. Do you see this land? Do you see this water? Right? The people, do you accept to protect them? And there's everyone from every type of place, right? Of Mexico. And it's like, yeah, I accept. And then, they're looking right at you, right? And you probably thought the same thing before, right? I accept as well. So they're making you believe that if you also accept, you can be part of this very, very distinguished group of people, right? In the military. Can I ask you guys a question? Who here, do you guys have more faith in the military than the police? Or is it about the same? Okay, military. Yeah. Anyone else?
I will say that I trust a little bit more in the military, but in some states it's not the same thing, it's different.
Interesting. So where you guys are, do you guys have National Guard? You do. And do they serve like as a police force as well, or? Okay, so would you guys say that you trust the National Guard more than the police? Okay.
But I think, well, I am proud to be Mexican.
Yep.
But I think sometimes when the people or the persons who have a authority or have the power, it's more they have more possibilities to, I don't know how to say this, to help the organization crime. It's because
okay.
the people that have that power are the keys for all that crime in the country.
Okay. So you're basically saying the more power you have, the more likely you would probably be mixed in with the bad people, right? The organized crime and all that. Okay. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. Good job, guys. Thanks for answering that question. So let's move on. Let's see. Let me go in WhatsApp real quick. Okay, so basically, what I want us to do is look at this political spectrum. Just look at it. You know, we're having a good time here. So in the middle, there's liberalism, right? Then next to it, we have conservatism, and then to the left, we have social democracy. So liberalism is where we would categorize a lot of where we are in a democratic society, right? So every political party in Mexico and every political party in the United States would fall under liberalism, right? This is in the big scale, right? Because also liberal here in the United States means Democrat, which is it's correct, but it's not correct in this instance, right? So everything would be in here, right? Mexico and the United States would be right here, right? And then within that, there would be liberal and there'd be conservative. Okay, let's put that out there. Mayfair, would you mind reading this first part?
Sure. In most countries, media bias is thought to either lean to the left or right, meaning it either favors liberal or conservative politics.
Okay. So who here has seen these pictures before? Anybody seen? Okay. Who has never seen this picture before? Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. So for those who have seen this picture before, what are they? What do they represent? Absolutely. Yep. So you got it, right? So the donkey represents the logo of the Democratic Party, and the elephant is the Republican Party. So I know you guys know this, or maybe you guys don't, but who here can tell me what party was Trump and what party was Biden? Democratic Party, yeah. Yep, you got it, right? So there's two different perspectives of this, right? And I will send you guys a video on the difference between the Republicans and Democrats. Who here knows one major thing that the Democrats and the Republicans disagree on? Who here knows something about that? Yep. Yeah. So amnesty, right? The giving citizenship to immigrants, right? Illegal immigrants or undocumented immigrants, right? So the Democratic Party favors this, right? They favor it to a large extent having a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants. Republican Party believes no, like this should not happen. If anything, they believe in deportation, right? They believe that, you broke the law in coming in, right? So either you pay to stay or you leave, right? So that's different. They're two very different perspectives. So left here is Democrat, which is liberal, and right is Republican, which is also conservative. So let's move on. Monica, would you mind reading the bottom section?
In some countries, media bias can go so far as to completely reflect the ideals of the governing body. For example, in North Korea, in case such as this, media bias essential to becomes propaganda.
Thank you so much, right? So media biases, I want you guys to know this, right? We know what media bias is, right? It's a leaning to one wing over the other, right? You have a tendency to lean in one belief over the other belief, right? But this extreme idea of only seeing this one belief could be radicalized. And we can see this in governments like North Korea, where they're so biased, right? They're so biased that if you say anything against Kim Jong-un, you say anything against their country, not only are you going to jail, but 3 generations of you would be in jail for their lives, right? So it's craziness. So this reflects the ideals of the governing body, right? So here, media bias essentially becomes propaganda because they're convincing you, they're manipulating your mind to believe only one point of view. One point of view. It's like saying if AMLO came out and pushed this agenda where he decided that it should be written in every school, every elementary school, middle school, and high school, why the Morena party is better than anyone else, like any other party, right? And you grew up with this idea, right? You grew up with this idea. They're shaping your mind into the idea that only Morena party is great and any other party is wrong, right? They're shaping your minds to believe this idea that you probably would grow up having, and once you grow up having it, you might want to even join it, right? That's the point. You don't want any different oppositions. No, you want people to believe the same thing. It's easier to control the public that way. So here is a fun graph that I found. So here's the ideological political parties of Mexico and where they stand, right? So the higher you go, the more capitalist they are, meaning the more neoliberal they are, right? I know we've heard this before, right? Los neoliberales, right? We've heard this before. We've heard that. And the lower you go, the more socialists. And it would ultimately, if you keep going all the way low, right, it leads to communism. Then to the left, we have liberal, but if you go too far, right, you become an anarchist. And if you go to the right, if you go too far, you become a totalitarian, right? So very strict government, like a king and queen. You say something bad about me, I'll chop your head off, right? So very, very strong. So who here recognizes some of the political parties here? Okay. So who here agrees with this graph? Yeah, okay. So, we have a few people. Yeah, it's okay to disagree, but just tell me why, because you're correct. Why? Why do you not agree with this graph? Okay, thanks, Oscar. I know Citlali, I know you had a different view, so why don't you share it? So what's wrong with it?
Well, I think that PRD or PRD is equal a Morena, but I don't know in in which part I classify to Morena and PRD.
Okay. Anyone else believe that this graph is not representative of the party? So I would say that this is based off of the ideals of the party, right? Every party has their own agenda and they have it written down, right? This is what we believe in. This is what we do. But when you really look into it, right, the PRI, Morena, all these parties might not reflect the people who are in it, right? So let's just give an example. The PRI, they've been in power for over 60 years in Mexico, for a long time. And a lot of people thought to themselves, The only way I could ever have a career in politics of Mexico is if I go through the PRI. There's no other way. No matter what viewpoint you had, there's only one way of getting into politics at the time, the PRI, right? If you're not into that, then you probably aren't going to make it so far, because the PRI offers you funding. They offer you a place to go. They probably would offer you a place to live, right? You have everything right there, all these resources. And the PRI gives it to you. So even though they might claim in their documents, right, in their memorandum, that they believe in a certain thing, the reality is that a lot of these parties, they can say all they want, but in the end, right, the people who are in this party probably don't fall under the same ideological categories. You might have a conservative, you might have a liberal, doesn't matter where you are, you're just, you're under this one party. But what you can say, though, is maybe the presidents of those parties, right? So in this case, Morena being the president, AMLO, might believe the same things that Morena believes in, right? But does that mean that a lot of the people that serve in the Morena party, like governors or state or local governments, right, believe the same thing AMLO believes in? Probably not, right? We've seen a lot what's going on right now, where previous PRI party people are now moving to Morena because they view this as the way to go, right? There's more opportunities now in Morena than there's ever been. And PRI, the opportunities are starting to close and close and close. Same for PAN. Excuse me. So that's a good example. So let's move on. So I want us to do this event just really quick. I want us to categorize where you think these news sources belong, right? Are they left, middle, or right? So what does left mean, guys, again? Who knows what left means again? Yeah, left means liberal, meaning, right, meaning it's more towards bigger governments, more towards helping people through solution, right? Just think liberal, right? Liberal thoughts, right? Gay rights as well. Conservatives land on the right? So traditional family values, oftentimes religious, anti-abortion, right? So they are pro-life, anti-marijuana, in most cases, more towards police, right? Very, very stricter rules. So in the center, of course, would be in the mixture of both of them. So which news, let me ask you this. Which news do you know of, first of all? Who has seen these news before? Could someone name me a news channel that you know here and you've read before? Okay, la jornada.
El País.
País. Absolutely.
Sometimes Reuters, I don't know the pronunciation.
Yeah, same thing. I mispronounce it all the time. Yeah, it's routers. Yeah, you got it. So where do you think these lie? Are they left, center, or right? Okay. So again, right, Republican, Trump, right, left, Biden, Democrats.
Fox News is right.
Okay. We have Fox News for the right. What else? CNN left. Okay, so let's see where they land. So here is all the news channels ranked from left, center to right. Now, for credibility and accuracy, guys, when you guys are doing maybe a presentation for your class or you have a job, right? you should always choose center news channels, never right or never too left. So if you want to cite something, the ones in the middle, AP, BBC, NPR, Reuters, Real Clear Politics, right? These are the ones you should cite, right? Over, let's say, Fox Opinion News, right? Or let's see, the Daily Wire, right? Which is a very, very conservative broadcaster. Then to the left, you wouldn't want to choose BuzzFeed, right? If I'm talking about what's going on in politics, I'm not going to cite BuzzFeed, right? The same people who released like how much pizza could I eat in 30 minutes, right? Like, why would I cite them? Same for CNN Opinion, right? Very, very left leaning, right? Anti-Trump, anti-conservative, right? You go to the right, it's anti-Biden, anti-liberal, right? So in the right, though, this is InfoWars. InfoWars is something. Who here has heard of InfoWars? Okay, InfoWars. I remember when it first started becoming popular. There was a guy named Alex Jones. He's the creator of all this and the host. He was an ultra right conservative person who believed in a bunch of conspiracy theories, even going as far as to say that the Sandy Hook shooting, the guy who went into like elementary school and killed a bunch of little kids with a gun, that it was all a government conspiracy. That it was the U.S. government trying to implant this thing into American society to split it up. So he went to these parents of the kids who died and started saying that they worked for the U.S. government and that they recorded them and everything like that, and to expose that they were actors paid by the U.S. government. And he actually got sued by these parents and lost. So a lot of this InfoWars got taken away from him. He's in bankruptcy right now. It's a bunch of different stuff. Let me just show you how crazy Alex Jones is, just to put you in perspective.
We begin with America and its guns as President Obama prepares to announce his sweeping plan to curb gun violence tomorrow. Across the country, millions have already rushed out to buy a record number of new guns. And one man who thinks that's a very good thing, radio shock jock Alex Jones. He made national headlines last week with a fiery pro-gun tirade that quickly went viral. And that's not all he's got to say. Here's ABC's Dan Harris.
Are you for Hitler or against Hitler? Whatever they say is the opposite. They never tell the truth.
Tonight, as millions of Americans worry about the government taking away their guns, this man, Alex Jones, is pushing a lot of buttons.
And I'm here to tell you, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. We will not relinquish them. Do you understand? The Republic will rise again when you attempt to take our guns.
When Jones went on CNN's Piers Morgan tonight,
Alex, why'd our government ship guns into Mexico?
Alex, to discuss gun control in the wake of the Sandy Hook massacre,
you're a hatchet man of the New World Order.
He created a sensation. This video went massively viral.
And I want to say this right here. You think you're a tough guy? Have me back with a boxing ring in here.
But who is Alex Jones?
We've got.
Yeah, so that's Alex Jones. Very
ABC Nightly.
Very powerful individual in terms of like how he says it, right? Very conspiracy theory, right? He said that Piers Morgan, the host, was part of the New World Order, right? The secret society that controls the world. So just to end it off, guys, what I want you guys to do is download this app. Please, if you guys go on your app store, download this thing called Ground News. I'm also going to send it into your WhatsApp, so the group chat. Ground News, it determines whether the news is either left, middle, or right. And that way you can really see all the different types of ways people frame the issue. And for next class, what I basically want you guys to do is bring in just an article, right? Get a news source from somewhere. It doesn't matter what type of news it is, as long as it's current events, and just bring it to class. Don't do any presentation or anything. Just read over it, bring it, and then we'll do a little activity together. So does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns before I end class and let you guys fly away into the sunset? Definitely. Just like how SNL, Saturday Night Live, you guys have heard of that, right? Saturday Night Live. It's like the people who make the skits and stuff at late night. Yeah, they're very left leaning, and their jokes are mainly towards anti Trump, anti conservative. So yeah, definitely you can find bias within even satire comedy. Anything else? All right, guys. Great work, great job, and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.